officers to the annual meeting of the council, which, as we know, due to government advice to practice social distancing, the meeting will be held virtually. The meeting is being recorded and will be available via the council's website to be viewed as soon as practicable following this meeting. Everyone participating in the meeting will be accessing it from remote locations. Please could everybody ensure that mobile phones are switched off to silent mode, please. Members will have received an electronic copy of the agenda. I will ask officers to present a summary of the key points. For the record, the agenda can be viewed on the council's website. Members and officers will be speaking at various points during the meeting, and those speaking may switch their cameras on at that point. But I would ask that, with the exception of myself as Mayor, at all other times you keep your cameras and microphones switched off, please. So with those with them still on, please switch them off. Thank you. Still got some. Councillor Collins, can you switch your camera off, please? And Councillor Young, thank you. And Councillor Thomas. 3, it's just me. And that will help minimise the background noise and interference and ensure the connection remains as stable as possible. If any members and officers wish to raise a point or question, they should use the hands up icon on the screen, and I will come to you in the order I receive requests. Please do not use your microphone until I invite you to do so. And then please lower your hand once you have finished speaking. Please also note that the chat function has been disabled, as on Teams we cannot clear any text on the meeting recordings. Councillor McCarthy, can you switch your camera off, please? Thank you. In the event that the council requires to vote on any item of business before it at the meeting, the monitoring officer will call out the name of each member present in turn and request them to vote verbally either for, against, or abstain. I will then ask the monitoring officer to announce the result of the vote and council's decision on that item. Officers from Democratic Services and ICT will be supporting the meeting and will be monitoring the use of microphones throughout, and where necessary will mute those not being used. Before we formally commence, I will now ask the officer from Democratic Services to announce the names of the councillors in attendance at this meeting. I would also ask the officers to introduce themselves as and when I invite them to speak during the course of the meeting. They too should ensure microphones and cameras are switched off when not in use. Thank you. Laura?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the purposes of the recording, my name is Laura Griffiths and I'm the Group Manager of Legal and Democratic Services. Today at the meeting we have present Councillor Alex Williams, Councillor Altaf Hussain, Councillor Amanda Williams, Councillor Pachella, Councillor Jones, Councillor Sedgbeer, Councillor Smith, Councillor Green, Councillor Edwards, Councillor David Lewis, Councillor White, Councillor Patel, Councillor Venables, Councillor Howells, Councillor Thomas, Councillor David, Councillor Williams, Councillor Gebby, Councillor Janice Lewis, Councillor McCarthy, Councillor Spanswick, Councillor Blundell, Councillor Williams, Councillor Rowlands, Councillor Watts, Councillor Walters, Councillor Jones, Councillor Voisey, Councillor Mike Clark, Councillor Kern, Councillor Burnett, Councillor Nora Clark, Councillor Pam Davis, Councillor Paul Davis, Councillor Philip White, Councillor Collins, Councillor Granville, Councillor Young, Councillor James, Councillor Shaw, Councillor Sturman, Councillor Aspey, Councillor Dendy, Councillor Smith, Councillor Baldwin, Councillor Beadle, and just bear with me, Councillor Ross Thomas, Councillor Tim Thomas, Councillor Gifford, and we've got Councillor Tilsley in attendance via the telephone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, well, I'll move to item 1, apologies for absence. The only name that I didn't hear there was that of Councillor Caroline Webster. Are there any more apologies for absence, please?
Chair, click him in on the Chair, I have my hand up, but you passed me. You didn't call me.
Okay, yes, I can see your hand now. Yes.
Yeah. There was 3 Councillor Davises called. There was a Councillor Davis, a Councillor Pam Davis, and a Councillor Paul Davis. Is there another Councillor Davis that we? There was 3 Councillor Davises called. I think is there another one?
It was Councillor David, Mr. Mayor, I think.
Councillor David.
Councillor
Okay, sorry, apologies, Chair. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Chief Exec, Mark Shepherd, did you want to come in?
Very briefly, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just to give the apologies of Janine Nightingale, Corporate Director Communities, who's unwell today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Councillor Tim Thomas.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Not so much apologies. I do have to leave at 3:15 to pick my children up from school. Childminder is off sick, but I have every intention of returning back to the meeting once I get back from school.
Thank you for that, Councillor Thomas.
Councillor Thomas, if I can just confirm, you can only take part in voting if you're here for the full item.
Oh,
if you join halfway through an item, we obviously wouldn't be able to take part in that voting.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move on to item 2 then. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members and officers, please? Laura Griffiths. Laura, do you have your hand up?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It was just to give apologies from Councillor Mary Hughes.
Thank you very much. That's the newly elected member, isn't it? Okay, I've heard nothing in declarations of interest, so I'll move on to item 3, which is the announcement from myself. This has been a year like no other. I'm sure we can all recognise that. It has truly been an annus horribilis, to quote someone else. It has tested our resolve and commitment, and rightly we acknowledge the work of the NHS and the care home staff in particular throughout this pandemic. But I should also like to thank the officers and staff of BCBC who have carried on regardless and kept services going during what has been a unique and demanding time. On behalf of this council and the people of Bridgend, I thank you all. This year has also been personally devastating for some, and we honour, remember and mourn the loved ones lost. It has also been disastrous for many, with livelihoods lost and way of life changed, possibly forever. And now it may well be socially divisive, with the likely introduction of COVID passports. Undoubtedly, the way we live, work and play has changed. The world has changed. My mayoral year, or should I say 8 months, has been somewhat different too. I have neither sat in the mayor's parlour, except for a photo opportunity this week, nor in the council chamber. Even the signing of my inauguration papers was carried out by the leader and the chief exec in the back garden and in the rain. Every meeting and function has been carried out virtually, an experience in itself, as many of us know to our embarrassment. Clearly, the way the council will operate in the future is unsure at the moment, but I have every confidence that members and officers will have the well-being of the residents of Bridgend County foremost in their minds as changes occur. There was some return to normality last week, with me attending the count with my consort, Councillor Julie Williams, and again the opening of Porthcawl Library and a new business in Dunraven Business Park. This just showed a fraction of what a mayor would normally do in a busy year. I would like to thank the Democratic Services team for their support and guidance throughout my term, and of course will not forget the impact Kevin's passing had on us all. I would also like to give a special thanks to my consort, Councillor Julia Williams, who, although functions were few and didn't have the chance of a new wardrobe, has supported me throughout in what has been a difficult time for her personally. I know you all wish her well. I also wish my successor, Councillor Spanswick, I believe, and his consort Susan every success in their term of office, and I'm confident they will do a first-class job, hopefully as life returns to whatever the future holds for us all. Thank you very much. Item 4, to elect the Mayor for the period of May 2021 in accordance with Section 23(1) of the Local Government Act 1972. Can I have a nomination, please?
I formally move Councillor John Spanswick, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Thank you very much. I therefore congratulate Councillor John Spanswick as being duly elected as Mayor for the year May 21 to May 22. Congratulations, Councillor Spanswick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Item 5, Councillor Spanswick. John, would you like to announce your consort, please?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to announce a consort for the year will be my wife, Susan Spanswick.
Thank you, Councillor. Obviously, we'll have a chance later in the meeting to say a few more words. Thank you. Thank you. Item 6, to elect the Deputy Mayor for the period May 2021 in accordance with Section 24(1) of the Local Government Act 1972. May I have nominations, please?
I nominate Councillor Martin Jones, Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No, I have no hands showing. So
I second that, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry?
I second the nomination.
Yes, someone else did, Councillor Patel, as well. So thank you for that. I therefore declare that Councillor Martin Jones is been elected as Deputy Mayor for the year May 2021 to May 2022. Congratulations, Martin. Item 7, Councillor Jones, did you wish to announce your consort?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I first of all accept the nomination as Deputy Mayor for Bridgen County Borough Council, Bridgen County Borough? It is a privilege to have this position. Can I first congratulate as well Councillor Spanswick on his nomination as Mayor, and it will be a privilege to support him and his consort, Susan, his wife. Mr. Mayor, I intend to break with tradition with regards to the announcement of a Deputy Mayor's consort. I will not have a dedicated consort. However, to promote the role of all elected members, I intend to extend an invitation to all relevant member or members from across the chamber to accompany me on the occasion that I am called upon to support the Deputy Mayor. And I hope each and every member who gets that invitation will join me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Ross Thomas, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was in response to your parting words as His Worshipful the Mayor of the County Borough, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to offer the congratulations and best wishes of the members of my group for the diligent way that you've discharged your duties. I think it's fair to say that you've been a constant over the last 8 months in what have been very challenging times for this council and for members, community members in Bridgen County Borough. So congratulations, llongyfarchiadau, and all the very best to both you and Julia. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's very kind of you to say so, Councillor Thomas. Yes, it has been a pretty unique experience, believe me. Thank you for that. Councillor Nora Clark, please.
Yes, I think it's always been sort of tradition that we thank the outgoing mayor And similarly to Councillor Penhale Thomas, I would like to thank you for the professional way in which you've carried out your duties, Councillor Watts, and thank you for all you've done for the County Borough in the short time that you have been Mayor this past year. So thank you very, very much. And obviously I would like to congratulate the incoming Mayor and the Deputy Mayor as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. I now have Councillor Robert James, please.
I think you've done a wonderful job, Ken. We thank you for what you've done, and you're a real credit to the Borough Council. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Tom Gifford, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on behalf of the Conservative group, I just wanted to pass my thanks as well on to you as the Mayor. As others have said, this has been a very difficult year and you've done the role very diligently and very well and very impartial in the role as well, which I think is very important. So I hope your successor takes that on board. I wish him every bit of luck, as I'm sure he'll be great in the job too. And I just wanted to thank you for the year that you've had in challenging circumstances.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Gifford. Thank you all for those very kind comments. Yes, it was certainly unique and took some time to learn the ropes. So in the unique situation, Councillor, the leader, Councillor Hugh David, please.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I was going to offer my thanks to you in the report, but I'll do it now as all other group leaders have offered their thanks to, and that's speaks volumes about you and the way that you've conducted yourself as Mayor. It's hard enough trying to chair the meetings face to face, but chairing these meetings virtually is like herding cats, and there's 54 of them in bridgen. Well, there's been 53, but you've done it very, very well and very fairly and very skillfully. And my thanks to your consort. You make a wonderful team, and the few times where you have been able to perform those duties, you've done the County Borough proud. And I'm sure that you'll continue to serve the County Borough with distinction, and we'll be seeing you hopefully at events as a former past Mayor, because you'll continue to wear that a badge of honour, I'm sure, with pride. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Leader, very much for those kind words. Yes, I will continue to wear it with pride. And when I did go into the council building last week for the first time, it was a proud moment to see the photograph and the name up on the wall. So thank you all. Councillor Gifford, you've still got your hand up. Councillor Gifford. Okay, Councillor Gifford, you've still got your hand up, but we'll move on.
Apologies, Mr. Mayor, I just realised, my fault.
Okay, it may seem that I'm having a bit of trouble with the hands. Is anybody else putting a hand up that I can't see? I can't see one at the moment. No. Okay. Right, item 8, to elect the leader of Bridgen County Borough Council. I now have a hand up with Councillor Gareth Howells, please.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Hugh David, please, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor.
I'd like to second the leader, Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Are there any other nominations? No, silence is golden. So, Councillor Hugh David, I congratulate you on being re-elected as leader. So we will move swiftly on to item 9 then, to receive the report of the leader. Councillor Hugh David, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the congratulations. It is an incredible honour and a privilege, and I would like to offer My sincere thanks to and respect to all members of the authority for your support. I will, of course, continue to devote my full attention and focus to the role and do my very best for the people that we all serve. I would like to offer my congratulations to councillors Gifford and Hussein for their success on becoming members of the Senedd. I'm sure they will champion local government and bridgen County Borough Council in their new roles. And I'm sure there'll be lots of questions coming from Councillor Hussein to Welsh Government ministers. I would also like to place on record my deep respect for Councillors Green and Nora Clark. Councillor Green, I understand, is stepping down as chair of scrutiny, and Councillor leader of the opposition. Both have held leadership roles during their time as elected representatives of this authority, and they've always been nothing less than constructive and respectful towards all their fellow members when undertaking their duties. They have always placed the interests of local residents at the heart of what they do, and I want to publicly thank them for their contributions and their service. Normally, this would be an opportunity for me to talk about the highlights of the council over the last 12 months and to look forward to what we will seek to achieve in the coming year. However, as you've described, Mr. Mayor, the last year has been anything but normal. It is now 14 months since the coronavirus pandemic took hold and forced us all to avoid contact with our friends and family, and for us, most of us, to work from home. Compared to how it was back then, the outlook is now thankfully far brighter, with infection rates falling, vaccinations increasing, and lockdown restrictions continuing to ease. Nevertheless, COVID-19 has not gone away, and it would be foolish to act as if it had. As such, Welsh Government advice to work from home wherever possible remains in place, and it is likely to do so for some time yet. I thought about this recently when considering what to speak about here today, and I was reminded of two things. The first is just how challenging the last year has proven to be, but how, when the stakes were high, when the stakes were the highest, people came together to provide a unified response. Back at the start of the pandemic, the council formed a coronavirus planning and coordination steering group, a move which proved to be crucial for ensuring that we could meet the challenges posed by the pandemic quickly and effectively. The long working days and short nights soon rolled into one another and severely tested us, both as individuals and as an organisation. We persevered and met these challenges by joining with other groups, public bodies and organisations to act as one in seeking to protect our residents. Over the course of the crisis, partnerships were formed and in many cases resurrected. Organisations ranging from bridgen, Merthyr Tydfil and RCT councils to Cwm Taf, Morgannwg University Health Board, South Wales Police, Public Health Wales came together to share both information and resources for maximum effect. This joint approach is continuing, and I believe it has laid the groundwork for further close collaboration even after the pandemic is over. The second thing I was reminded of when considering what I would say here today was the remarkable response from the council's workforce in the face of COVID-19. Our staff adapted, innovated, and persevered under the most difficult of circumstances, working very long hours without any additional reward, and in some cases, in many cases, risking potential exposure to the coronavirus as they set about ensuring that the authority was able to continue to deliver essential services. You may recall how quickly we consulted with trade unions and established how staff, resources and services might be redeployed and reprioritised in order to deal with the crisis. One of the biggest concerns during the initial phase was, of course, the availability of suitable PPE equipment to help keep our workers safe and well enough to be able to continue to support people. Staff worked wonders in ensuring that we could secure sufficient stocks. And even teachers from local schools pitched in to fashion protective visors using 3D printers and other workshop equipment. I don't know if you can remember where you were when the lockdown was finally announced and our streets and town centres suddenly emptied of people. But I was at the civic offices in Angel Street. I remember how I walked the length of the buildings, open plan offices, and I did not see or hear another member of staff. Thankfully, the council's ICT team pulled off a small miracle in the period leading up to the lockdown, and within just a matter of weeks, they'd equipped the council's workforce to be able to work from home. A huge effort was made to encourage residents to carry out their council business online or by telephone, and an entire range of advice and support for individuals, businesses and organisations of all types and sizes had to be hurriedly prepared. With the announcement the country was officially entering pandemic lockdown and that people were to remain at home, we quickly closed down schools and facilities such as Coitchurch Crematorium and instigated strict new rules at care homes to protect elderly residents from exposure. Our social care staff, our amazing social care staff, ensured that no vulnerable person had to face the pandemic alone, and went to extra lengths, extraordinary lengths, to make sure that they were safe and secure. Our school-based staff established online learning sessions and distributed IT equipment, and in some cases even broadband connections, to ensure that no child would miss out on their lessons. Alongside the wide range of organisations and agencies who came together to work in partnership and protect our communities, a great deal was established in the early weeks and months of the pandemic. This included the setting up of 6 emergency childcare hubs practically overnight to ensure that essential key workers, doctors, nurses, care workers could still attend work and keep the system running smoothly. We developed a food parcel delivery system which ensured that more than 5,000 children who were entitled to free school meals did not go hungry, and which also enabled us to look after their welfare by maintaining safeguarding checks and direct contact. Council depots were rapidly converted into temporary ambulance stations. Abu Garu Manor was reopened as a temporary step-down facility for people leaving hospital, and an information sharing group was set up with all commissioned care providers, with whom we kept in constant touch. We made sure that all care homes, private or otherwise, received latest guidance to help protect staff and residents, and carried out a range of work to get homeless people off the streets, again, virtually overnight. We supported the establishment of coronavirus testing centres, sourcing suitable locations and ensuring they could move around the county borough and target communities where they could be of most help. We worked alongside the brilliant Bridgen Association of Voluntary Organisations, and all the fantastic community groups to support thousands of vulnerable people who shield in and set up a viable, locally managed test, trace and protect system within just 2 weeks. To support local businesses, our staff worked tirelessly and gave up their evenings, their weekends, their holidays to process thousands of funding applications, which resulted in the provision of millions of pounds of financial assistance to thousands of local businesses. We also provide businesses with practical advice and guidance, along with materials such as sneeze guards, pavement livery, posters, signage and more, all of which was designed to keep staff and customers safe from exposure. In addition, we froze rents for small and medium-sized enterprises, including the stalls at Bridgen and Maestig Markets, and instigated periods of free car parking in Bridgen and Porthcawl town centres. From the very start of the crisis, key messages and official advice was monitored, shared and built into our own communications, and we undertook an unprecedented amount of internal work that sought to care for the council staff and ensure they remain fit and well to provide vital services. By the end of the first year, we'd issued more than 1,000 media releases and developed a comprehensive daily update that served to keep our key audiences informed throughout the height of the crisis. We also had to plan for scenarios where waste and recycling may have gone uncollected and pile up in the event of mass exposure amongst the key workers, something which thankfully did not come to pass, and which Kia were particularly active in avoiding. Of course, it is easy to forget the uncertainty that we were dealing with back then. At the start, nobody knew for sure the potential impact that the pandemic could have. And there were many things that we had to plan for, which thankfully did not have to be implemented. I will never ever forget chairing meetings where we planned for the cold storage for bodies and even the possibility of carrying out mass burials as we experienced the initial surge in cases and hospitals filled with patients and became full of patients with COVID-19. Nevertheless, this was a possibility which we had to be ready for, and the council and its partners put in place the plans, hoping all the while that they would be ultimately unnecessary. While this thankfully proved to be the case, the virus still took its terrible toll on local people. We all know someone who passed away as a result of contracting COVID-19. And once the rollout of coronavirus vaccines began in earnest, Council again undertook a critical role and worked alongside our partners in health to establish local vaccination centres. Having visited the one at Ravenscourt for my own jab, I can confirm that it is a very efficient and effective process. Now, and with the recent confirmation from Public Health Wales that more than 2 million vaccinations have been issued across Wales, I sincerely hope that the worst of the pandemic is behind us. Unfortunately, the pandemic followed several events which continued to have major implications for the county borough. Following the loss of the Bridgen Ford engine plant, our biggest private sector employer, we had the decision by INEOS to relocate their car manufacturing business to Europe, and the announcement from the Sinner Group that they were basing their bottle plant in Ebbw Vale. Several times, I've repeated my call for the UK government to work alongside Welsh government and make renewed efforts to attract fresh investment into the area. I do not intend to let this become forgotten about. Urgent investment and rapid action still remains vital to protect the county borough's communities and the local economy. I call upon both UK Government and Welsh Government not to forget about Bridgen County Borough. We need them both to work with us to bring in new investment, business and jobs, to support existing employers and to ensure the opportunities remain available for our future generations. As disappointing as those decisions may have been, however, they have not swayed our ambition or our desire to deliver positive change for the people of the county borough. As restrictions continue to ease, our thoughts have turned increasingly towards recovery and what the future might hold. Despite the disruption caused by the pandemic and the reprioritisation of our plans and services that it forced upon us, we were still able to continue to deliver a wide range of projects and make fresh investment into communities all across the county borough. In Bridgen, swift progress has been made on the £23 million Sunnyside Wellness Village in partnership with Link Housing and Cwmtaf Morgannwg University Health Board. This will be a landmark development which will deliver almost 60 affordable homes, a modern new healthcare centre with consultation and treatment rooms, a GP practice, a specialist dental unit, a pharmacy and more. At Maesteg, the 7.9 million restoration and extension of Maesteg Town Hall is continuing and will, when complete, will deliver all new facilities, including a new glass atrium, studio theatre, cinema space, cafe, a mezzanine bar, heritage centre, modern library and more. In Porthcawl, contractors are about to start work on a new 6.4 million flood defence scheme focusing on the Western Breakwater, Eastern Promenade and Coney Beach and Sandy Bay areas. And our ongoing regeneration scheme is making real progress at Salt Lake. Furthermore, plans for investing in new community facilities at Cozy Corner and Porthcawl have moved a step closer after we agreed to match Welsh Government funding of £1 million with an additional investment of almost £385,000. Council also continues to be one of the leading authorities in Wales when it comes to areas such as recycling waste and diverting it away from landfill, and our appreciation and thanks for the support of residents that has made that very successful recycling record a reality in Bridgen. At Pyle, we are preparing to start work on improving the junction with Village Farm Industrial Estate in anticipation of the opening of the new community recycling centre later this summer. The new recycling centre is going to be bigger and capable of dealing with more vehicles, and the junction improvements will make it far easier for everyone to enter and leave the estate. I am also delighted that construction is ongoing of a new enterprise hub for small and micro businesses at Pyle. Elsewhere, our work with town and community councils has helped to develop facilities which otherwise would be under threat due to budget pressures. We have been supporting various funding bids to undertake initiatives such as community centre improvements, new children play areas, playing field enhancements, footpath resurfacing and more. Likewise, our community asset transfer process is continuing to deliver significant results, and we currently have around 55 applications at different levels of completion. Our ongoing 21st century flagship school modernisation programme has revealed plans for providing the biggest investment into Welsh medium and English medium provision in the Connelly community for more than 40 years. Plus plans for a state-of-the-art new primary school in Kenfigale, and we are developing 4 new childcare hubs in the Ogmore Valley, in the Garw Valley, Bridgen and Porthcawl, as part of a £2.6 million investment into Welsh medium childcare. Together with our health board partners, we are investing at Tremor and Betters to support the work of the County Borough's integrated health and social care team. This will deliver new facilities to support the training of new staff working in areas such as reablement, physiotherapy, nursing, social work and occupational therapy, and we will provide ample testing and demonstration space for telecare equipment designed to help people with sensory and physical disabilities. Our programme to bring empty properties back into use is also a growing success, with 8 properties already approved and at various stages of work, and a further 23 applications already making their way through the system. We've established specialist voluntary litter hubs and are working alongside community groups to tackle littering, and have launched a new enforcement team to help fight fly tipping and other waste problems across the County Borough. Our multi-million-pound programme of highways investment took advantage of quieter roads during the pandemic to make extra headway, and we're already embarking upon the next round of improvements. An issue that really developed during the lockdown was the way in which people took up walking and cycling as part of their daily exercise, myself included. So we are capitalising upon this by investing millions into developing more new active travel routes right across the County Borough. We are progressing options for providing more charging points for electric vehicles as part of the Cardiff Capital Region ultra low emission vehicle strategy, and are promoting a try before you buy scheme to encourage more taxi drivers to transition over to wheelchair accessible electric vehicles. Work on taxi charging points at Hillsborough Place car park in Porthcawl is already being planned, and funding is also being sought for charging points at Brynmenyn Industrial Estate, bridgen Life Centre, Porthcawl Maesteg car park, bridgen Town Centre, Bryncethan Depot and the Civic Offices car park. We've also made progress on our commitment towards the bridgen 2030 decarbonisation strategy, the bridgen Town Heat Network and the Caira Heat Scheme, plus a multi-million-pound investment in energy efficiency improvements to many of our buildings. As part of our efforts to support decarbonisation, carbon dioxide emissions, we've plans in place for planting almost 3,000 new trees in areas such as Newbridge Field, Scare Farm, the new community garden in Nanty Moyle, the Sunnyside Wellness Village development and more. We are entering the final stages of the long in progress local development plan, which, when finally approved by you as members, will determine what developments will take place in the County Borough over the next 15 years. As part of this, the derelict Brownfield Iweni Road Industrial Estate site in Maesteg will undergo transformation with £3.5 million of investment thanks to vital support from the Cardiff Capital Region City Yield. Will in turn unlock the site for further development and regeneration, and is just one of several such schemes we have in place. We want the local development plan to reflect our ambitions as members for the County Borough, and to support the development of 7,500 new jobs, as well as 9,200 new homes required for accommodating the growing local population over the next decade and a half. We also have extensive plans for developing and enhancing local transportation links, such as park and ride facilities for Porthcawl, proposed Brackler railway station, extended new park and ride facilities at Maesteg Iweni Road and Pencoed, and a new replacement road bridge over the railway at Pencoed. A new passing loop and a half-hour service to Maesteg, a new bus corridor improvement. Work is also progressing on the delivery of a new extension at Pyle Railway Station and development of a new park and ride facility. Anyone seeking a further example of this council's ambition, your ambition, our ambition, could also look towards our bridgen Town Centre master plan, regeneration strategy which has the potential for changing how we use the town centre of Bridgend for generations. It is through projects such as these that this council is continuing to invest in new infrastructure for the county borough. We are committed towards capitalising upon further and future developments throughout the region, working alongside partners including the Welsh Government and UK Government to maximise benefits and to delivering high quality services and facilities for the people we serve. I'm looking forward to seeing how those ambitions develop further in the year ahead, and I know that all members are too. In my role as leader, I'm ably backed by unwavering support of my cabinet colleagues. I would like to acknowledge their ongoing dedication and commitment, particularly over this unprecedented period. And I'd also like to confirm for the years ahead, the year ahead, I should say, that there will be some changes to the cabinet structure. Councillor Richard Young is stepping down as cabinet member for communities, and Councillor Stuart Baldwin will take on the role. Councillor Young is the only current member of Bridgend County Borough Council, who has also served on the former Glamorgan County Council. With 30 years of representing his town and the county borough is an exceptional achievement and record of dedication by anyone's standard. His passion and belief in the green energy revolution is quickly clear to anyone who listens to him, and his leadership and championing of that agenda has undoubtedly led to faster progress on the district heat networks and carbon zero homes across the borough, a legacy that he can be rightly very proud of. As well as being a political veteran, Richard is a military veteran who served our nation in the Royal Navy for over 8 years. So he's always been committed to honouring our covenant as our armed forces champion. So I've asked him to continue in that very important role. Councillor Young's experience, wisdom and cool head, and he has a very cool head, has been an invaluable asset to me. I have been always able to count on him, and I am very grateful to count him as both a respected colleague and a friend. Councillor Baldwin has demonstrated extraordinary energy and commitment to all the roles that he has undertaken, and I know that he relishes the challenge of this very important role, and particularly this portfolio given his background, and I have every confidence in him making and continuing to make a difference in that role. Together with my cabinet colleagues, I would like to extend him a very warm welcome. We also want to offer our sincere thanks to Councillor Young for the invaluable contribution that he has made. I am not proposing, Mr. Mayor, to make any further changes to the current cabinet portfolios, but would like to conclude my report by taking this opportunity to express my thanks and appreciation to the Deputy Leader, Councillor Williams, to Councillor Smith as Cabinet Member for Education and Regeneration, to Councillor Patel as the Cabinet Member for Wellbeing and Future Generations, and to Councillor Burnett as the Cabinet Member for Social Services and Early Help, for their ongoing and much valued support. I am very grateful to them. And finally, can I add my personal congratulations to the incoming Mayor. I'm sure he will be very energetic in that role, and I know he will work very closely with the Deputy Mayor. As a Garw boy and an Ogmore boy, I know that those two valleys always work well together. Councillor Spanswick is, like Councillor Young, one of our longest serving members, and I know it will make his family very proud that he has become the Mayor today. I'm certainly very proud as a friend that he is becoming our Mayor, and I'm also very proud that Councillor Jones, another friend and very good long-standing colleague, has also today been elected as our Deputy Mayor. And my final thanks to you once again, Mr. Mayor, for your outstanding service to our communities in the last year. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Leader. Obviously, I would wish to be associated with your comments regarding Councillor Richard Young. We're all well aware of his input into proceedings and meetings, and he's always been very, shall we say, firm in putting his views across, and something which is often maybe needed. And I'll obviously be sorry to see him go, but from the cabinet position, but I'll welcome him onto the backbenches where I shall be also next year. But also I'd like to extend my congratulations to Councillor Stuart Baldwin. One could say he's been elevated to the upper house. It's certainly a rapid promotion in his first 4 years as a councillor. He's doing extremely well, and it makes you wonder what the future may hold. Watch this space, I think, Councillor Hugh David. Okay, Councillor Smith, Charles Smith, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it's in order, with your indulgence, could I just say something very briefly about my cabinet colleague, Councillor Young? I'd like to echo all the tributes that the leader has just made to different individuals. But when you're a cabinet member and a cabinet member leaves, I think it is something to be marked. I've known Richard Young for many, many years. We've both had a life outside politics, and I've known him in different lives outside politics. I've known him for his dedication to the brass band movement, when, along with his daughters, I was a member of the Ogmore Valley Silver Band. And I've also known him for his dedication to the Five Bells pub in Bridgen in years gone by. As a cabinet member, he's been, I think the phrase "a safe pair of hands" was specially invented for Richard, because that's what he is. He is also, I would say, a voice of calm. He doesn't use a megaphone. He's a quiet voice of calm, and it's always worth listening for what he knows through his experience. And I've experienced that at first hand when we've been out in the community, when we were imposing some of the worst austerity cuts and having to explain to members of the public why we were withdrawing bus subsidies. He was a tremendous help to us along the Route 68 and 69 Kevin Glass circular bus route and the communities that it serves. So best wishes to Richard and his family from myself and from Julia to Annette. but please, Richard, please consider standing for re-election next year. I would like you and me to be on the backbenches like that old pair of geezers on the Muppets, expressing our comments from that position. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Charles. Councillor Richard Young, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your indulgence. I know this is very unusual, but I just feel that I must respond to what's being said. I'm very touched with the tributes. I don't particularly want to go into all the reasons why I am or have decided to stand down. Suffice it to say that I'm facing a few personal challenges over the next 12 months, hence my decision to stand down as the Cabinet member. But I'd also like to say that for me, it's been an absolute privilege. And I would say that I've thoroughly enjoyed serving you as a Cabinet member. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my Cabinet colleagues for their dedicated support over the years. And I'd also like to thank you, the council members, for your support and comradeship over that time. I'd also like to thank all the officers of the Directorate that have supported me in the decisions that I've made and made my job quite easy, to be perfectly honest with you. I hope members would look back on my tenure and say that I've tried to be fair-minded in all my dealings with members, and I'm being honest when I say I miss working with you all in that capacity. And thank you once again for your past understanding and tolerance. I'd like to, at this point, offer my thanks to you personally, Mr. Mayor, as the outgoing Mayor, for your 8 months of service. It has been a different tenure, hasn't it, Mr. Mayor?
Very definitely.
It has had some special challenges attached with your time in office, and I think you've handled them expertly, and I thank you for what you've done for the Bridgen County Borough Council. I'd also like to congratulate Councillor John Spanswick as he takes office himself, and I know that he and Sue will uphold the traditions and the professionalism that the office will require, as you have done so yourself, Mr. Mayor. And there's nothing left for me to say, to be perfectly honest with you, other than can I offer my congratulations to Councillor Stuart Baldwin, as he has been appointed to the Cabinet in my place. However, I'll still be around. I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be an active member of the council on the backbenches, and I look forward to working with you all on committees. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your indulgence.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. And as Charles said, look forward to joining We Muppets on the backbench. Okay, well, let's move on then, and to item 10, and I'll call in the monitoring officer, please, for the proposed programme of ordinary meetings of council and council committees.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we start, I just want to confirm that according to the system, Councillor Caroline Webster has now joined the building.
Yes,
but we seem to have lost Councillor Tilsley.
Okay, thank you.
Just for members to be aware of who's present.
I think Councillor Tim Thomas has rejoined us as well.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, if I take you then to the item at number 10, the purpose of this report is to propose a programme of ordinary meetings of the council and council committees for May 2021 until April 2022 for approval, and also to note the programme of meetings for May 2022 to April 23. The proposed programme of ordinary meetings of council is set out at 4.1 in your report. Members will note that following discussions with group leaders, only regulatory committee meetings are scheduled in April 2022 during the pre-election period. The programme set out includes the date of the meeting to consider the budget, which is the 23rd of February 2022, but members should note that this date may be subject to change depending on the timeline of the Welsh Government local government settlement. Any changes to the date of the budget meeting or any other council meeting, including cancellations, will be approved by the Mayor following consultation with group leaders and myself as the monitoring officer. In order to assist with future planning, members will find a draft programme of meetings for 2022-23 attached at Appendix 2 for noting at this stage, and then they will come to the AGM next May for formal approval. Council is also asked to note the meeting dates for Cabinet committees and the Coitchurch Crematorium Joint Committee, which are included in Appendix 1 for completeness. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. I have one speaker. Can I have the report moved and seconded first, please?
Formally moved, Chair.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I've had it moved and seconded. Two speakers. Councillor Alex Williams, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to support the recommendations, but in doing so, can I ask what consideration has been given to a blended approach of meetings when conditions allow, whereby a certain number of us are in the chamber on a rotational basis and others join in via Teams as we are today? Thanks.
Yeah, monitoring officer, please.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. As you're aware, there are changes. Some are mentioned in the next report about changes to the Constitution, and also changes following the Local Government and Elections Act, which will now permit remote working going forward and remote meetings. We are currently working with our providers to make sure that all the systems can join up together, so that if we have people in the chamber using the chamber system, that will link into the Teams meetings. It is a work in progress, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to provide an update towards the end of the summer, about July time. But it is something we're actively working towards.
Thank you, Kelly. You satisfied, Councillor Williams?
Great, many thanks.
Okay, thank you. I have no other speakers. It has been moved and seconded. So can I take it that that report is approved? Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Moving on to item 11 then, please. Report of the monitoring officer, appointments to the council committees and other council bodies and amendments to the Constitution. Kelly again, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek council approval for appointments to overview and scrutiny committees and other such committees, subcommittees, panels and bodies as the council considers appropriate, and which deal with matters which are neither reserved to full council or are executive functions, and further to approve amendments to the council's constitution. Part 3 of the council's constitution sets out those committees, subcommittees, panels and other bodies which are currently in place. Detailed at paragraph 4.2 onwards of your report are certain committees, some of which are governed by the provisions of the Local Government Wales Measure 2011 in terms of their composition and or appointment of chairpersons. These provisions are set out in detail in your report, but I'll just highlight a few key issues for you. The Governance and Audit Committee. Under the measure, the chairperson is required to be appointed by the committee at its first scheduled meeting, which is due to take place on the 18th of June 2021. This committee requires a lay member, and the current lay member was reappointed for a further term at the AGM on the 17th of May 2017, and this term will expire in May 2022. Members may be aware that the Local Government and Elections Wales Act makes changes to the lay membership of the Audit and Governance Committee, and work will be ongoing and further reports will be presented throughout the year. Reports were presented to the Audit and Governance Committee on the 22nd of April 2021 regarding the anti-tax evasion policy and the Local Government and Wales Act 2021. Following these reports, it is proposed that the Constitution be amended as set out in paragraph 4.2.3 of your report. So in part 4, the section on prevention of theft, fraud and corruption will be amended to make reference to the anti-tax evasion policy. Under part 3, the terms of reference of the committee is amended as shown via track changes at Appendix 1 of your report. And in part 2, the wording will be replaced as set out at paragraph 4.2.3 of your report. Moving on to chairpersons of the overview and scrutiny committees. The measure requires that as a minimum, the chairpersons of these committees be appointed based on the size and political balance of each of the groups that make up the council. Therefore, the chairpersons of these committees are allocated as set out in paragraph 4.31. Labour has one chairperson, the Independent Alliance has one chairperson, and the Conservative group has one chairperson. The chairperson of the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Committee is unallocated and will be appointed by the members of the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Committee from one of the non-executive scrutiny chairs we appoint today. Mr. Mayor, for members' information, the current remit and functions of committee and other bodies of the council remain unchanged, and these are detailed in part 3 of your constitution, and we've attached them at appendix 1 for reference. As you're aware, the political balance is essential to determine the allocation of seats on committees. The current political balance has been reworked following some recent changes and is now shown at Appendix 2 of the report. This accounts for the Nanty Mole ward now being taken by Councillor Mary Hughes as a standalone independent member, and yourself, Mr. Mayor, having recently joined the Independence Alliance group. As a result, the Independent Alliance have gained a seat on the Development Control Committee, and Labour has lost a seat on that committee. It is proposed that Councillor Watts's current seat on the Town and Community Council Forum Development Control Committee and Scrutiny 1 are allocated to Councillor Mary Hughes. Members will find the current committee structure in Appendix 3 of their report. And at Appendix 4, they'll find the existing membership of committees, which will form the basis of any changes, which we'll come to in due course. Members, you'll see that at paragraph 4.12, we have included some proposed constitutional changes for your attention. You may be aware that the Welsh Monitoring Officers Group will be commissioning a firm of solicitors to review the National Model Constitution due to the new changes due to come into force in May 2022. Council will have the opportunity to consider this new model code of constitution and decide whether to adopt it formally for use in Bridgen. Obviously, I'll be bringing further reports during the year on this matter. In the meantime, the following changes are proposed to get us through this 12-month period. Section 54 of the Local Government and Elections Wales Act 2021 makes provision for principal councils to appoint a chief executive rather than a head of paid service. It is proposed that all references within our constitution to the head of paid service will be replaced with chief executive. It is proposed that the Constitution is amended in relation to county borough debate and voting, and we have outlined these proposals at Appendix 5 of your report. Mr. Mayor, that's everything I was going to run through on the report, unless there are any questions from members. We do have quite a lot of recommendations that need to be considered, so I'll defer to you, and obviously I can come back in then when we get to the point where we're doing the committee appointments.
Thank you, Kelly. I have one speaker at the moment, Councillor Alex Williams, please.
Yeah, sorry, me again, Mr. Mayor. Just referring, I refer members to. Sorry, I don't understand. Sorry, that's Alexa. I refer members to page 67 of your paper pack and clause 15 or paragraph 15 regarding the proposal for a county debate. Now, I actually welcome this this move. It's something which I've called for some time, but I would like to ask questions about the frequency of debates and to ask whether there could be some consideration of increasing the frequency of debates from quarterly to monthly. And I can appreciate that members may be concerned about whether we have enough time for a debate at every single council meeting. But if we were to introduce a time limit on the debates and a time limit on member contributions, I think that this could be navigated successfully. Also, with regards to the topic of debate, perhaps this could be considered on a rotational basis, whereby the executive have a chance to promote a certain topic and then the opposition promote a certain topic, and perhaps that members could be placed in a ballot for a short debate, so that all members have the opportunity of putting forward a topic of their choice. So these are some of my suggestions on paragraph 15 of the constitutional changes, but I'd be happy to hear members' views.
Thank you, Councillor. I do have Councillor Matthew Voisey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Williams has pretty much stole many of the ideas that I had on this particular part of the amendments. I don't like the change from from will to can. We haven't had any during this this session, and removing the will to can means that it will be the can kicked down the road, I think. So I would like that will be left in this in this rather than removed. And I have to agree that there needs to be some obligation for the leader to have to accept debates or subjects proposed by alternative groups to the leader's own group. Otherwise, democracy will not be served. Thank you. So just
yeah. Thank you, Councillor. Kelly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to confirm the actual amendment does state the leader and leaders of the political groups will agree the topic of the debate. Yeah. So the proposal is that will be discussed in the group leaders meeting, and hopefully they will have a consensus on the topic of the debate. This proposal has been discussed by group leaders, so it's not they're not coming to it unawares. But happy to consider the amendments. Whether you want me to take that away, leave that amendment for now, take it away and look at it and bring another proposal at a later date.
Yeah, can we look at a proposal at a later date then, where it's not with the AGM? Can we change the constitution?
Yes, happy.
Yeah.
Could I come back in, Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Councillor Voisey says he's happy. Councillor Williams?
Yes, as long as we're able to continue with the proposal that we start with debates almost immediately, because we're clearly approaching the end of this term now. Is it permissible for you to bring back a constitutional change outside the AGM then, Kelly, is it?
Yes. Yeah. What I propose is if we leave this change in for now, so we can start the cycle going of the quarterly debates. And I think from the timetable I looked at, probably July would be the best time to have the first one, because obviously we're trying to avoid certain meetings like the AGM, like the budget meeting. And then I can work with group leaders then to see if any further amendments are needed as we go through the process. And if necessarily, I can bring a further report to council.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely acceptable. I'm not meaning to be belligerent in any way. I just want to try and ensure that some of the frustrations of members in the past is that we've been dealing with issues which haven't allowed us to explore some of the wider issues within the county borough, and I think this measure would definitely allow us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Kelly. We have the report put before us. Before we go any further, can I have the report moved and seconded, please?
Move. Formally move, Chair.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, it says the council is recommended 2, and then we have 4 items there, which Kelly has pointed out. And item 5 then is to receive the nominations and appoint councillors to serve on each of the committees. I understand that leaders have spoken to the monitoring officer previously, and she wishes to know if there are any amendments or any changes to that which was previously discussed as to the makeup of those committees, members' makeup on that committee. So if any leader would like to come forward with any changes to that which has previously been mentioned to the monitoring officer, please. Councillor Nora Clark.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, it took me a while to put my mic off. Is Kelly, through you, Mr. Mayor, is Kelly just going to run through them so that we can tick them off our sheet? So you're nodding your head. So yes, okay, yes. I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gifford?
Yeah.
That's a yes, you're happy as well, are you?
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that the amendments Kelly's got there are the ones I sent to Laura on Thursday for our group. Is that right, Kelly? Brilliant. Yeah, no changes over and above that then, thanks.
Okay, then Kelly, I think you can just run through it by the sound of that, please.
Okay, so these are the changes that have been communicated to us. Obviously, at the end, if there's anything not quite right, if you just let us know. So at Appendix 4 of your pack, you have the current composition of the committees, and these are the changes. Appeals panel, Councillor Tom Gifford is to replace Councillor Matthew Voisey. Councillor Julia Williams is to replace Councillor Elaine Venables.
Okay, Kelly, just hold on. If someone's got their microphone open, please. I can hear something in the background. Will you all check your microphones, please? Thank you, Kelly.
So if I start that one again, Councillor Tom Gifford to replace Councillor Matthew Voisey, Councillor Julia Williams to replace Councillor Elaine Venables, Councillor Richard Young to replace Councillor Stuart Baldwin. Appointments Committee, Councillor Matthew Voisey replacing Councillor Tom Gifford, Councillor Tim Thomas to come off, Councillor Malcolm James to go on. Governance and Audit, Councillor Elaine Venables is to replace Councillor Alex Williams. Development Control, Councillor Janice Lewis to come off, Councillor Mary Hughes to go on, Councillor Nora Clark to replace Councillor Amanda Williams. Democratic Services Committee, Councillor Richard Young to replace Councillor Richard Granville. Licensing Committees, Councillor Ken Watts to replace Councillor Alex Williams. Town and Community Council Forum, Councillor Mary Hughes to go on, Councillor Amanda Williams to come off, Councillor Tom Gifford to replace Councillor Kay Rowlands, Councillor Caroline Webster to replace Councillor Matthew Voisey. Scrutiny 1, Councillor Gareth Howells to replace Councillor Stuart Baldwin, Councillor Cheryl Green to replace Councillor Amanda Williams, Councillor Tim Thomas to replace Councillor Alex Williams, Councillor Ken Watts to come off, Councillor Mary Hughes to go on. Scrutiny 2, Councillor Sadie Vidal to replace Councillor Altaf Hussain, Councillor Amanda Williams to replace Councillor Cheryl Green, Councillor Ken Watts to replace Councillor Tim Thomas. Scrutiny 3, Councillor Gareth Howells to replace Councillor Stuart Baldwin, Councillor Alex Williams to replace Councillor Elaine Venables, and Corporate Scrutiny, Councillor Matthew Voisey to replace Councillor Tom Gifford, Councillor Alex Williams to replace Councillor Nora Clark, Councillor Amanda Williams to replace Councillor Cheryl Green. Do the group leaders have any other changes they need to notify us of at this stage?
I have Councillor Nora Clark, please.
No, thank you. That seemed fine to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Gareth Howells, please.
Yes, I think there are one or two incorrect names there. I think on development control, Councillor, I don't think I had it right. Councillor Stuart Baldwin comes off, is replaced by Councillor Richard Young.
Okay, have you got that? Okay.
Right. And on scrutiny 3, I'm already on it, so I wouldn't be replacing anyone on that.
Okay. Is Councillor
Scrutiny
Baldwin?
1. It was scrutiny 1.
I was going on scrutiny 1, and the other thing is I'm replacing Stuart Baldwin on corporate overview as well, just to clarify.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Kelly.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Howells. You all right, Kelly?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, right, we move on to item 6 then of the recommendations for agenda item 11, which is to receive the nominations and appoint chairpersons, vice chairpersons, chairpersons of the following committees. Panels and other bodies, as indicated, as has already been explained, without the need for the audit committee as they elect their own. So I'll take them in order for chairs. The first one is the appeals panel. Please, do I have nominations?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Pam Davis as chair of the appeals panel, please, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other nominations for appeals?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Penhale Thomas, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Is it seconded?
Second.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Councillor Thomas and Councillor Davis have been nominated. Kelly, we'll have to go to a vote on this.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, what will happen now is Laura will do the roll call of names, and if you can just say Councillor Davis or Councillor Penhale Thomas, and then if we can have just a moment at the end so we can
Yes.
top them up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Laura, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if we start first with Councillor Williams, if I could have your nomination, please. It's either Councillor Pam Davis or Councillor Ross Penhale Thomas.
I assume that's Councillor Alex Williams, isn't it?
Yes, sorry, Councillor Alex Williams.
Councillor Penhale Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Hussain. Councillor Hussain.
Sorry, I think he's just away from his desk. I'll just go and grab him now. I'll, if you're all right to come back to him, Mr. Mayor, with your permission.
We'll come back to him. Thank you. Councillor Amanda Williams.
Hi, Councillor Ross Penhale Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Pachella.
Councillor Thomas, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Brian Jones.
Councillor Penhale Thomas.
Thank you. Councillor Sedgbeer.
Councillor Pam Davis.
Thank you. Councillor Webster.
Councillor Penhale Thomas, please.
Councillor Charles Smith.
Councillor Davis.
Councillor Cheryl Green.
Councillor Penhale Thomas.
Councillor David Lewis.
Councillor Davis, please, Laura.
Councillor David White.
Councillor Pam Davis.
Councillor Patel.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor Venables.
Councillor Penhale Thomas, please.
Councillor Howells.
Councillor Davis, please, Laura.
Councillor Gary Thomas.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor David.
Councillor Davis, please.
Councillor Howell Williams.
Councillor Pam Davis.
Councillor Gebby.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor Janice Lewis.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor John McCarthy.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor John Spanswick.
Councillor Pam Davis.
Councillor John Paul Blundell.
Councillor Pam Davis, please, Laura.
Councillor Julia Williams.
Councillor Penhale Thomas, please.
Councillor Kay Rowlands.
Councillor Penhale Thomas, please.
Councillor Keith Edwards. Councillor Edwards.
Councillor Penhale Thomas.
Thank you. Councillor Ken Watts.
Councillor Penhale Thomas, please.
Councillor Lynn Walters.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Malcolm James.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Martin Jones.
Councillor Davis, please.
Councillor Voisey.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Mike Clark.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Mike Kane.
Councillor Davis, please.
Councillor Nicole Burnett. Councillor Burnett.
Sorry, can you hear me? It's not,
Yes.
my button's not working. Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Thank you. Councillor Nora Clark.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Pam Davis.
Myself, Pam Davis, thank you.
Councillor Paul Davis.
Councillor Pam Davis, please, Laura.
Councillor Philip White.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor Richard Collins.
Councillor Pam Davis, Laura, please.
Councillor Richard Granville.
Councillor Davis, please, Laura.
Councillor Richard Young.
Councillor Davis, please.
Councillor Rod Shaw.
Councillor Pam Davis, please.
Councillor Ross Penhill-Thomas.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please. Thank you.
Councillor Ross Sturman.
Councillor Ross Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Sean Aspey.
Hello?
Yes, Councillor Aspey.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I've just had somebody at the door.
Councillor Aspey, it's your nomination for the chair of the appeals panel. Councillor Pam Davis or Councillor Ross Penhill-Thomas, please.
Councillor Ross Penhale-Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Dendy.
Councillor Ross Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Stephen Smith.
Councillor Davis, please.
Councillor Stuart Baldwin.
Councillor Pam Davis, please, Laura.
Councillor Tim Thomas.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, please.
Councillor Beadle.
Councillor Penhale-Thomas, thank you.
Councillor Gifford.
Ross Penhill-Thomas, please.
And Councillor Hussain.
Ross Penhale-Thomas, please.
Ross Penhill-Thomas, thank you.
Thank you.
If you just bear with me, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor.
give you time, Laura.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask who Eloise Hunt's student is on the participant list?
I believe that may be one of the guests for Councillor Spanswick for later in the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have 26 votes for Councillor Pam Davis, and we have Councillor Ross Penhill-Thomas with 24 votes.
Thank you. So that's 26 for Councillor Pam Davis and 24 for Councillor Ross Penhale-Thomas. Therefore, the vote is carried in favour of Councillor Pamela Davis. Thank you. Before we move on to the Vice Chair for that, I do have a hand showing, but I would just like to make the comment that I'm a little concerned that some members are not at their desks when called upon. And I would urge all members please stay at their desk during this time. And if you do have to be somewhere else, then you should officially leave the meeting and then officially come back in so that we can decide whether your vote or on a particular subject is valid or not. Thank you. Councillor Denisha Patel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make the Democratic Services Committee or IT aware that Councillor Burnett is struggling with her microphone, so I think she needs assistance.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we did
Thank
hear.
you. I've logged out and logged back in now after I voted, and everything seems to be fine now, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, we move on now to still on the appeals panel, but to the vice chair. Do I have a nomination from vice chair for appeals, please?
I'd like to nominate John McCarthy, please.
Second that, Chair.
Okay, Councillor John McCarthy has been nominated and seconded. Do I have another nomination, please? I'll take that as a no. Therefore, Councillor has been appointed as vice chair. Okay, we'll move on then to Democratic Services for nominations for the chairperson for Democratic Services. Do I have a nomination for that, please? Any nominations?
Mr. Mayor, isn't this done by Democratic Services itself, or?
I thought it was, but it's down here as under the appointments. But yeah, when I was on it, it was appointed within the committee. Kelly, is that the case?
You're quite right, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's a non-executive. It needs to be a non-executive member. It can be appointed by council.
Nominate Councillor Elaine Venables, the existing chair.
Second.
Okay, I have Councillor Venables nominated and seconded. Any other nominations, please? No, we don't. So therefore, I decree that I say that Councillor Venables is the chair for Democratic Services Committee. Thank you very much. We now move on to Development Control Committee for chairperson and vice chairperson. Can I have a nomination for chair, please?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Mr. Mayor.
Can I have a seconder for that, please?
Second.
Thank you. Councillor Gary Thomas is nominated and seconded. Any other nominations, please?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I would like to nominate, I was trying to put my hand up then, but I don't know whether it's up or down, to be honest.
It's down at the moment. It flashed up and then went down.
Yeah, I know, and then I put it off. I'm so sorry. I would like to nominate Councillor Sorrel Dendy for the chair of Development Control.
Thank you.
And I would like to second Councillor Dendy, please, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so we have two councillors, Councillor Dendy and Councillor Thomas. We need to go to a vote on this. Laura, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if we start again with Councillor Alex Williams.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Hussain. Councillor Hussain.
Councillor Dandy, please. Sorry, I was mute.
Councillor Amanda Williams.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Pachella.
Councillor Dendy, please, Laura.
Councillor Brian Jones.
Councillor Dendy.
Councillor Sedgbeer.
Councillor Thomas.
Councillor Webster.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Charles Smith.
Councillor Thomas.
Councillor Cheryl Green.
Councillor Dendy.
Councillor David Lewis.
Councillor Thomas, please.
Councillor David White.
Councillor Thomas, please.
Councillor Patel.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please. Thanks, Laura.
Councillor Venables.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Howells.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Laura.
Councillor Gary Thomas.
Myself, please.
Councillor Hugh David.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please.
Councillor Howell Williams.
Oh, come on. It's not. I am here. I am here.
Yeah, who's saying they're here?
Oh, can you hear me? Right, the mic won't go off. It's Gary Thomas. I don't know what my toggle buttons are working.
We're at Councillor Howell Williams. Your nomination.
Can you hear me? Gary
Yes.
Thomas? Gary Thomas.
Yeah, Councillor Howell Williams is voting for Gary Thomas.
Thank you. Councillor Gebby.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Janice Lewis.
Councillor Gary Thomas.
Councillor John McCarthy.
Councillor Gary Thomas.
Councillor John Spanswick.
Councillor Gary Thomas.
Councillor John Paul Blundell.
Councillor Gary Thomas. Thank you, Laura.
Councillor Julia Williams.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Councillor Kay Rowlands.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Councillor Keith Edwards.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Ken Watts.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Walters.
Sorry, I was struggling with my mic. Councillor Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Malcolm James.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Martin Jones.
Councillor Thomas.
Councillor Voisey.
Councillor Gary Thomas.
Councillor Mike Clark.
Councillor Denby, please.
Councillor Kern.
Councillor Thomas, please.
Councillor Nicole Burnett.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Nora Clark.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Councillor Pete Davis.
Was that P. Davis, Laura? Sorry.
Sorry, Pam Davis. Councillor Pam Davis.
Gary Thomas, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Davis.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Philip White.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Collins.
Councillor Gary Thomas, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Granville.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Young.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Rod Shaw.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ross Penhill Thomas.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please, and thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ross Sturman.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Sean Aspey.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please.
Councillor Dendy.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Stephen Smith.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Stuart Baldwin.
Councillor Gary Thomas, please.
Thank you. Councillor Tim Thomas.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Tom Beadle.
Councillor Dendy, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Tom Gifford.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Thank you. Just bear with me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Laura, carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have Councillor Gary Thomas, 29, and Councillor Dendy, 21. Thank you.
Thank you. Therefore, I declare Councillor Gary Thomas as the chair for the Development Control Committee.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Thomas. We now move to the vice chair for Development Control Committee. Can I have nominations, please, for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Richard Granville, Mr. Mayor, please.
I'd like to second that, please, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Nominated Councillor Richard Granville, and that's seconded. Any other nominations, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councillor Sorrel Dendy.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to second that nomination.
Thank you. Any other nominations? I have Councillor Richard Granville and Councillor Sorrel Dendy. Okay, Laura, again, please. Councillor Richard Granville and Councillor Sorrel Dendy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Alex Williams.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Hussain.
Councillor Dandy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Amanda Williams.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Pachella.
Councillor Dendy, thank you, Laura.
Councillor Brian Jones.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Sedgebeer.
Councillor Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Caroline Webster.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Charles Smith.
Councillor Granville, thank you.
Councillor Cheryl Green.
Councillor Dendy, thank you.
Councillor David Lewis.
Councillor Granville, please. Thank you, Laura.
Councillor David White.
Councillor Granville, please, Laura.
Councillor Patel.
Councillor Richard Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Venables.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Gareth Howells.
Councillor Richard Granville, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Gary Thomas.
Councillor Granville, please.
Councillor Hugh David.
Councillor Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Howell Williams. Councillor Williams.
We had difficulty with Howell Williams last time, Laura.
Mr. Mayor, Councillor Williams is restarting his computer.
Yeah, I just joined you now. Who am I voting for?
This is for the Vice Chair of Development Control.
Richard Granville.
Thank you. Councillor Gebby.
Richard Granville, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Janice Lewis.
Richard Granville, please.
Councillor John McCarthy.
Richard Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor John Spanswick.
Councillor Richard Granville.
Councillor John Paul Blundell.
Councillor Richard Granville, please, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Julia Williams.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Kay Rowlands.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Keith Edwards.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Ken Watts.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Lynn Walters.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry. Councillor Richard Granville. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Malcolm James.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Martin Jones.
Councillor Granville.
Councillor Voisey.
Councillor Dendy.
Councillor Mike Clark.
Councillor Denby.
Councillor Mike Kern.
Councillor Granville, please.
Councillor Nicole Burnett.
Councillor Granville, please.
Councillor Nora Clark.
Councillor Dendy, please.
Councillor Pam Davis.
Councillor Richard Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Davis.
Councillor Richard Granville, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Philip White.
Councillor Richard Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Collins.
Councillor Richard Granville, Laura, thank you.
Councillor Richard Granville.
For myself, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Young.
Councillor Richard Granville, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rod Shaw.
Councillor Richard Granville, please. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Ross Penhill Thomas.
Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Ross Sturman.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Sean Aspey.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you. Councillor Dendy.
Myself, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Stephen Smith.
Councillor Richard Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Stuart Baldwin.
Councillor Granville, please.
Thank you. Councillor Tim Thomas.
Councillor Sorrel Dendy, please, Laura.
Thank you. Councillor Tom Beadle.
Councillor Dendy, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Tom Gifford.
Sorrel Dendy, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Wait for you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have Councillor Richard Granville with 27 and we have Councillor Sorrel with 23. Sorrel Dendy.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Therefore, I declare that Councillor Richard Granville is elected Vice Chair of the Development Control Committee. Thank you, everybody. We now move on to the Licensing Committee and Licensing Act 2003 Committee for Chair and Vice Persons. Can I have a nomination for Chair for Licensing Committee, please?
I'd like to nominate Councillor David Lewis, Chair. Mr. Mayor, please.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, nominated and seconded, Councillor David Lewis. Any other nominations, please? No other nominations? Okay, I will therefore declare Councillor Lewis as Chair of Licensing Committee.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations. Nominations for Vice Chair of the Licensing Committee, please.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Pam Davis, please, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Seconded?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So I have Councillor Pam Davis as nominated for Vice Chair of Licensing. Any other nominations, please? No. Thank you then. Councillor Pam Davis is duly elected as the Vice Chair of the Licensing Committee. Thank you very much. We move on to Town and Community Council Forum, please. Nominations for Chairperson. Yes, Councillor Howells. Councillor Howells.
I think it's the leader. Move the
Yeah.
Councillor Hugh David.
Yes, thank you. And can I have that seconded, please?
I'd like to second that, Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you. So the leader is nominated as Chair for Town and Community Council. Are there any other nominations for that chair position, please? No, therefore the leader is duly elected as the chairperson for Town and Community Council Forum. And can I have a nomination for Vice Chair, please? Councillor Howells. Councillor Howells.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Charles Smith. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, mic was on.
Okay. I have a nomination for Councillor Charles Smith. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, please, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Any other nominations for Vice Chair? Okay, none. Therefore, I declare that Councillor Smith is the Vice Chair of Town and Community Council Forum. Thank you, everyone. We now move on to sub-item 7 of item 11 on the agenda, which is to receive nominations and appoint the chairpersons of the following overview and scrutiny committees in accordance with the provisions of paragraph 4.3 of this report. We start with subject overview and scrutiny committee 1. Can I have a nomination for chair, please? Councillor Gifford.
Councillor Kay Rowlands, please.
Thank you. Can I have that seconded?
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, do you have to? No, that's right. Sorry, I was thinking that I would have to be on the committee, but no, that's not right.
You're okay. Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
It's all right. Okay, I have Councillor Rowlands nominated and seconded. Any other nominations for subject overview and scrutiny committee 1, please? No. Okay, therefore I declare that Councillor Rowlands is chair of subject overview and scrutiny committee 1. We then move on to subject overview and scrutiny committee 2, please. Nominations for chair.
Mr. Mayor, if I could nominate Councillor Amanda Williams, please.
Seconded.
Yes, Councillor Amanda Williams has been nominated and seconded. Any other nominations, please? No. Okay, therefore I declare that Councillor Amanda Williams is chair of Scrutiny Committee 2. Subject overview of Scrutiny Committee 3 then, please. Nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Councillor JP Blundell, please, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can I have that seconded?
I'd like to second, Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you very much. So Councillor JP Blundell has been nominated and seconded for chair. Any other nominations, please? No, therefore I declare that Councillor Blundell is chair of Subject Overview and Scrutiny Committee 3.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, I therefore go to ask for the whole report, including all of the elections that we've just held, to be moved and seconded so that the item 11 can be concluded, please. Can I have a mover for the report?
Formally move.
Mr. Mayor.
Can I have a seconder, please?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Therefore conclude item 11 of the agenda. And that, by the way, included the constitutional amendments which were discussed earlier. We therefore move to item 12, please, which is the monitoring officer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 12, the purpose of this report is to seek Council's approval of the appointment of members to the South Wales Police and Crime Panel, the Cardiff Capital Region City Deal Joint Scrutiny Committee and the South East Wales Strategic Planning Group. These are set out at Appendix 1 of your report. Each term will be for each appointment will be for a 1-year term unless earlier revocation of the appointment is appropriate because the member is either no longer sitting. And it is proposed that an appointment is made on the basis of a member's role within the authority. The appointment is attached to the role and not to the individual. For example, if it's allocated to a scrutiny chair, the member will only take that position whilst they are a scrutiny chair. If I take you to the recommendations of paragraph 9, Mr. Mayor, we now need to seek nominations and appoint the numbers of members to those bodies and committees as shown in Appendix 1 of the report.
So can I, are they already named? No, they're not. Do we need to have nominations for those positions then, please?
Mr. Mayor, can
yes.
I come in, please?
Yes, Councillor Thomas, was that?
The strategic planning is the chair goes there. No, that's what normally happens.
So that's yourself then, obviously.
That's it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Chair, if you refer to Appendix 1,
yes.
It states there that the member for the strategic planning is the chairperson of the development control.
Okay.
For the South Wales Police and Crime Panel, it's usually one member from the executive, the majority party. And then for the Cardiff Capital Region Scrutiny, we have one member and one deputy member. So we need nominations for those positions.
Okay, well, can we go with the South Wales Police and Crime Panel then? Can we have a nomination for that, please, first?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councillor Richard Young, please.
I second, Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you very much. Any other nominations for that, please? Okay, thank you. Therefore, I declare that Councillor Richard Young is the member for South Wales Police and Crime Panel. Thank you. The Cardiff Capital Regional City Deal Joint Scrutiny Committee, can I have a nomination for the member, please?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councillor JP Blundell.
Can I have that seconded, please?
Second, Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you. Any other nominations, please? No, therefore I declare that Councillor Blundell is the member for the Cardiff Capital Region City Deal Joint Scrutiny Committee, and I need a deputy member for that, please. Can I have a nomination for that? Councillor Blundell?
It's just to say, in case anyone doesn't come forward, deputy members do also get speaking rights in the committee as well. So you can come along and have the same rights, just you won't be able to vote. So you are able to ask questions, just to give a bit of background to the deputy member. That was all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Does that encourage anybody to come forward as deputy?
Mr. Mayor, I believe I'm currently the deputy member, but I'm happy for someone else to take on the role if they wish to do so.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Is there anybody happy to come forward? No, it looks like you're remaining in that position, Councillor Williams.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, if it helps proceedings.
Oh, is that Councillor Thomas?
It is indeed.
I nominate
Councillor Thomas, Mr. Mayor.
There we are. I nominate Councillor Thomas as well.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Yeah, okay, I've got all that. So Councillor Tim Thomas, you are now the deputy member for the Joint Scrutiny Committee for the Cardiff City Deal.
Marvelous.
Thank you very much. Okay, is that Kelly, is that all the positions now that we've got on that? I think we've done them.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we've filled all the positions now.
Okay, thank you very much. Brilliant. I'm going to call a short adjournment now before the inauguration of or the investment of the mayor and deputy mayor, so that their guests can log in and settle to the screen. So can I have you all back? My computer is saying 3 minutes to 5. So can I have you all back at 5 o'clock, please? Thank you.
Yeah. You haven't announced who the leader is of the Independent Alliance or the new leader.
Mr. Mayor, your microphone's on.
Microphone is on.
Okay, is everybody back for item 13, please? I think we are. Okay, item 13, to invest the Mayor of Bridgen County Borough Council for 2021 and 22. Gives me pleasure to say that the Council has approved the nomination of Councillor John Spanswick as Mayor of Bridgend County Borough Council for the year 2021-22. I now invite Councillor Spanswick to formally accept the office of Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. I, John Charles Spanswick, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Thank you very much, John. Congratulations. And I look forward to handing the chain over to you. I wish you well in your term of office, and I hope things return to somewhat near normality, that you can really take the full enjoyment that it gives. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Item 14, to invest the Mayor's consort. Susan Spanswick has been named as Mayor's consort for the year 2021-22. I now invite Susan to formally accept the position of consort.
It gives me great pleasure in accepting the position of Mayor's consort. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Spanswick. Susan, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get to have a new wardrobe.
Hopefully.
Congratulations to
Thank
both
you.
of you. Thank you. Right, item 15, John, it's over to you to make your announcements.
Thank you. Firstly, Mr. Chair, now I must say.
Yeah.
I would like to welcome all councillors here today, guests and family who, thanks to our new modern ways of working with virtual meetings, can all be present here today with us. I'm honoured and thankful to be elected to the office of Mayor of the County Borough of Bridgend for the year 2021-22. And over the years, it's not been something I truly expected to happen, or dare I say aspire to. But I suppose after now entering my 23rd year as a County Borough Councillor and nearly 30 years as a Community Councillor in Brackla, it was about time I took on this role. Nevertheless, as we know, I will not be undertaking this role on my own. I'm proud to inform you that my consort for the European wife, as we just seen, Susan Spanswick, who I'm sure will keep me in check and let me know if I step out of line. Susan has supported me over all these years with my work in the community. While I've been out and about attending meetings, etc., she's been working both part-time as a home care worker and getting on with family life, bringing up our 3 children, and more lately, helping out with our 4 grandchildren, and soon to be another one arriving in July. But for 1 year only, Susan will now be stepping forward with me to help me represent the County Borough of Bridgend. And going back to what this honour means to me, I thought it'd be appropriate to give you a little insight into where I've come from. And that's not very far, in fact, as I was brought up in Nantymall in the lovely Ogmore Valley. And while I no longer live there, I still love driving up through the valley towards the Balk Mountains. But whilst growing up in the valley, I may not have noticed many people in public life and councillors of the day. That wasn't perhaps something I was looking at. But there is in particular one I did notice as I became a teenager in the late 1970s. And that was a Councillor Muriel Williams from what was then the Ogo Borough Council. More commonly known as Move from the Roo, as the council offices at that time were situated across the river from where they currently are today, alongside the Roo Shopping Centre. I think Muriel became the Mayor of Ogo Borough Council. I'm extremely proud to be the Mayor of this county borough with Nantymall heritage. May even be the only one since Move from the Roo, which probably many councillors here would even have heard of or know of. But she was a marvellous Mayor of Ogo Borough Council. During 1980, I was fortunate to become an apprentice groundsman with the Oga Borough Council, based at Griffin Park in Bethcall. And I travel each day from Nantymore on my 50cc moped. Not a great experience on a wet and windy day, as nice as Bethcall might be. It was those early years of the 1980s that got me interested in politics and the local community. And the rest, as I say, is history, especially the early 80s. I'll be forever grateful to Oga Borough Council for starting me off my career path in parks and green spaces, which ended up with me spending 39 years in local government and finally achieving the post of Parks and Council Manager at neighbouring Rhondda County Borough Council in 2016. And on the subject of green spaces and our outdoor environment, this is an area I'll be looking to champion over the coming year, and in particular, the planting and maintenance of trees, together with safeguarding our green spaces. What better legacy can we leave for our children than to plant as many trees as possible, albeit of the correct species and in the correct location, and to protect green spaces for future generations. Some initial work has already commenced in respect of the plant of trees, with a project being led by Bridgen College to plant 60,000 trees by 2025. I've already attended a working group consisting of officers from this authority, Bridgen College, Valleys of Coast, the Fire Authority, and Groundwork, and others, to look at working together on this, and we will be meeting again in early June. While it is a big ask, I'm hoping the target of 60,000 trees can perhaps be increased to around 145,000 trees, which would roughly equate to 1 tree for every member of the population of this county borough. And not that I knew the timing of this could not be better, as this week we've seen the launch of the Queen's Green Canopy scheme by Prince Charles, and this has been led to encourage people to plant trees for the start of the tree planting season in October this year through to the end of 2022 to mark 70 years on the throne for Queen Elizabeth. So people across the UK are to be invited to plant healthy native trees next year for Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Prince Charles has described planting a tree as a statement of hope and faith in the future. He's even called it a tree-belee instead of a jubilee. More news in the future on that, and by the end of my year in office, you may be a little tired of me going on about trees and green spaces, but go on I will. I shall endeavour to fulfil and promote the role and office of Mayor to the best of my ability by supporting community events wherever and whenever possible, whilst at all times keeping in mind the need for us all to stay safe as we emerge from the pandemic. I do sincerely hope to return to Nantymore during the forthcoming year in office, and help promote the Ogden Valley along with all the other wonderful areas we have within the county borough of Bridgen. Now on to my chosen charities for the year, and as you all will be aware, it's been a difficult time for fundraising. I do hope you'll all be able to support me with this task over the coming year. Not sure how many of you will have heard of Lads and Dads, but this was a local support group set up in Brackla 2019 to help men, young and old, with their mental well-being, following concerns with increasing number of young men ending their own lives. Its strapline is talking, walking, thinking and supporting. I helped the founder, Rob Lester, set up the first few meetings at Brackla Community Centre to give people the opportunity to come and chat in a confidential setting. The group now has over 400 members from the local area and further afield, and some great work is taking place with more and more men talking confidentially about matters of concern to them. While I'm currently the secretary of the group, I will be stepping down from this in the weeks ahead to give somebody else a chance to take the group forward with the other trustees. And the other local charity I will be supporting is Bridgen Carers Centre, who undertake an essential role in supporting unpaid carers throughout the county borough. And they have faced many challenges during the pandemic and continue to do so as we try to return to the new normal, whatever this may be. So lastly, I wish to say well done to the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Ken Watts, and Consort, Councillor Julia Williams. I appreciate it has perhaps not quite been as you would have expected, with limited events and meetings being held virtually, but it's been a privilege to have been your deputy and to work with you over the past 8 months. Finally, I do hope it's only a matter of time before we return to some sort of normality with meetings in the council chamber. And in that respect, I'm sure you will all be ready to test out my patience as chair of the meeting. Look out though, it may be a rough ride ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Spanswick, and congratulations. And I sincerely wish you all the best. And I'll try and plant a tree for you as well.
Thank you. every member, hopefully, at least
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, can I have item now 16 to invest the Deputy Mayor of Bridgen County Borough Council for 2021-22. Council has approved the nomination of Councillor Martin Jones as Deputy Mayor of Bridgen County Borough for the year 2021-22, and I now invite Councillor Jones to formally accept the office of Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I formally accept the office of Deputy Mayor. I look forward to supporting Councillor Spanswick and his wife, Susan, as his consort for the forthcoming year, and of course to represent the good citizens of the County Borough of Bridgend. It is an honour and a privilege and a proud moment for the ward in which I represent, Betws, as we know, which is God's little acre on the hill. It's a proud moment for us all. I look forward with ambition and enthusiasm for the forthcoming year. Thank you once again, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. I wish you all the very best as well. Obviously, item 17 is not relevant. So before I close the meeting, I would just like to say to all the new appointees, I wish you all the very best for the new cabinet members and new members of committees. Some of you, most of you may know that Councillor Nora Clark has now stood down as the leader of the Independent Alliance, known as the Opposition, and I congratulate Councillor Alex Williams, who will be taking over that role. So I think we'll have quite a new makeup of council at the next council meeting, and I look forward to the interesting exchanges which may occur. So I wish you all the very best, and it's been an honour to be chair of the County Council. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.